Hey y'all, welcome back to episode 13 of the Late Night Vision Show. I am Hans, and as always, I've got my co-host Jason. Now, Jason, I'm about 25% of the show. You pull more weight around here. You're about 75% of the show, which you bring to the table every week. So welcome back.
Well, thanks, Hans. But see, I agree you're about 25% of the show. But I agree that I'm about 25% of the show. So that other 50%, I just don't know what that is. I think we've got 50% of a podcast right here. That's about what it's a half a podcast.
Either way, welcome back this week. We've got a great show for y'all. And really, we're going to get into a couple different topics here in a minute. But first of all, anything going on in your neck of the woods down there in Appleby?
Man, not much. We need some rain. I think I say that every time, but we're just so dry. But no, not much going on. Been seeing a few hogs, but oddly enough, we've been seeing them during the daylight. And I think I might have mentioned that on one of the last shows. But every time I see hogs, they're in the late evening. 5:30 to 7 o'clock, and it's just kind of strange. It's a weird time. I'd say last year I probably didn't see hogs in the daylight 2 times, maybe all year, and it just seems like every few days I'm seeing them way down there in the daylight. I don't know, some kind of a pattern they're on right now, but
that's crazy. To see them in the daylight like that, especially where you are, it's with being able to look out. It is strange, but I'm going to tell you, I last weekend had a great experience with some buddies of mine that they've never thermal hog hunted before. They wanted to go out and check it out, and I grabbed my rifle and thermal and took them out, and they brought along their 9-year-old son, Ian. So there was 3 of us. Ian had never shot a hog before, and we were able to get him on. I'm talking about a pretty good sized hog for a kid's first time. He was probably 200 pounds. Wow. Pretty good sized cutters. We were there 15 minutes, and we saw that hog, and he dropped that hog like it was nothing with a 223 shoulder shot. Wow. And the thing didn't run. It just plopped down like it was supposed to. I mean, it was perfect.
What kind of ammo was he using?
He was using 55 grain boat tail hollow point Hornady.
All right.
And not necessarily big ammo. Yeah. I mean, but and a shoulder shot to bring him down like that. It was crazy, but we got it all on film. I just put the video out a couple days ago on YouTube. But man, I'm going to tell you, like I said, I love to be the one shooting hogs. I love to be the one to pull the trigger. But there's nothing like sharing that experience with your friends for the first time. And especially a 9-year-old kid to be able to shoot a hog, his first hog with a thermal. And I told him after the hunt, I said, now you go back to school in September, you're going to be able to say, probably be the only kid in your class that's ever shot a hog with a thermal scope. And he shot it with a not just any, the Pulsar Trail XP50. So it's like one of the nicest ones you can get. So he was pumped about it.
So
he's spoiled, and that's what I told my buddies too. You're starting with a great scope, and everything else you look through it. No, there's plenty of them that are great out there, but they're definitely spoiled. They're hooked now, and I know they've been calling you about getting a scope.
I had a phone call today, and it was from a sweet lady, and I talked to her a little bit, and she said that her husband and her son had gone out, and her son killed it. And I was going, this sounds so familiar. And she's super nice. And we talked a little bit. She's just wanting to check on a couple different scopes, see if they're in stock. And she said, oh, my son killed this hog, and he's just loving it, and they got to go back and all this. And so, as soon as I hung up, I put it all together. I said, it's got to be them. Looked at the phone number. I was like, yep.
It is. Yeah. And just like the rest of us, they looked through thermal once and they were hooked.
That's right.
And so, and it worked out good for me because they got a bunch of good prime hog hunting spots to hunt on.
That's good. They'll take you.
Yeah. And we got on hogs quick, and we were on hogs all night, and we got several of them. But this week, get on.
I was gonna say. Speaking about shooting hogs, this is a topic that Hans and I have been kicking around for a while, talking about that. We had it on the list of things that we wanted to talk about because we get this question. I get it on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Hans does. We've had this question on to the Late Night Vision Show. People have asked this on Instagram, Facebook. Say, hey, what do you do with all these hogs you kill? And Normally, when that question comes, it's not really a question of, how do you load it up in the back of your Ranger, or how do you load it up in the pickup, and where do you take it? That question really should be phrased, do you eat every hog you kill? Because
Right.
that's really what they're trying to ask in, a few different words. And so
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I see it not just on our pages. I see it on a lot of other people. Guys that do a lot of hog hunting and post a lot of stuff on social media. You see that question come up over and over. So that's something that I thought we should address on this show, because I know not everybody listening to this show is necessarily somebody who is out hunting all the time, killing a lot of hogs, and so they may have the same question. And so let's just jump right into it, Hans.
Yeah, so you're right. This question comes up a lot. I get a lot of comments on YouTube. People wanting to know what we do with the hogs. Is the meat donated? Do we eat it all? What do you do with it? So I'm gonna kind of, I guess, put it plain and simple in a not so simple kind of way. But I'm out hunting just about every night. I shoot a lot of hogs. I don't shoot more than some people, but I shoot more than a lot of
You
people.
shoot a lot.
I'll put it
You
that
shoot
way.
a lot.
I shoot a lot of hogs. So really, when I'm shooting hogs, it's 10, 11, it's between 10 and 2 o'clock in the morning. And, it's a mad scramble to get the hogs, and to figure out what to do with them. Now, in the past, we used to trap hogs. And when we trapped hogs, we would have people that would come by and get them, that in the area, the people that we knew that wanted to take them, have them processed, and use the meat. But we weren't trapping that many hogs. I mean, it was maybe a couple hogs every couple weeks. It wasn't that many hogs. But when you start killing more hogs and more hogs when you're hunting quite often, there's really you can't give away enough meat. I mean, there's not enough people that'll even take it, and especially at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight, that are going to run out there and get it. So really what I do is when I shoot a hog, I drag it off more often than not. From time to time, there might be. I had a buddy that come down that wanted a hog, so we were able to save a hog. But there's no possible way that I could eat every hog that I shot, and that's where we really need to get into the difference of what we're doing. This is not traditional hunting. This is hog extermination or eradication. I mean, it is
I agree.
getting rid of a problem completely, and making sure that we get all the hogs taken care of. And it's not really about trying to keep or I'd love to donate the meat if I had the time and had the capabilities to do so. But really, all the hogs that are shot around my place, if you talk to some of the big hog hunters that are shooting a lot of hogs, everybody has a bone pile.
That's right.
And that's where you're dragging the hogs off. The buzzards and coyotes stay fat and happy around our places, and that's because we're feeding them several times a week.
Sure.
And that's really what we're doing with the meat, and that's what we're doing with the hogs. Occasionally, like I said, we will save them. And really, to tell you the truth, there's certain times of year you don't even probably want to mess with saving a hog. And I know that summertime and the hot weather, hogs, when you shoot one, you'll go up there and take a look at it. You'll notice sores on them, open sores. You'll notice lumps on them that don't look healthy. You'll see hogs that don't look healthy, and it's not just about the smell. It's what you see visually on the hog with open sores and different things like that. I even read a study that said that there was a certain percentage of hogs that had a certain type of blood disease, and they're recommending that you don't even touch hogs without gloves on.
Right.
So there's that study going on. I've now started trying to remember to wear gloves when I'm touching them. But definitely in the summertime, they've got worms. A lot of people won't even eat them, don't even want them. If you can't even give them away in the summertime,
Well,
pretty much.
I want to chime in there and say that I think that my experience is similar, but the one thing that I want to kind of, expand on is the fact that you talked about, people say, well, there's hungry people. There's people that'll take them, or you can donate them. Well, number one, I don't know about your area, but my area, I'm in a rural area, and then we have a small town down the road. There is nowhere, even in that small town, that you could donate a hog. There's nowhere in this county. I'm unaware of anywhere in a county touching us. I mean, maybe there is, but I don't know about it. I can tell you, there's not one in this county. You cannot take processed hog meat and donate it anywhere. So, with that said, that's not even an option. So, the only other option would be if there is a family that will take the meat, somebody that wants it, and that's great. Number one, like you already said, you're going to run out of people. You kill enough hogs, but it's also just not. It's just not feasible. So you mentioned it. We're killing these hogs late at night, and very, very often. I've told you this, and sometimes it's I hate to even admit it, but it'll be. And I stay up late at night anyway, working. But it'll be 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe 2:30, and I'm fixing to go to bed, and I'll look down there, and there's hogs in the pasture, and I'll be like, ah. I mean, because by the time I go throw on my clothes and I get on my boots and I get on my gear and I get everything geared up and then I stalk all the way down there. It's going to take 30, 40 minutes by the time we do this whole thing. And I got to get up and be at work in the morning. I mean, I got kids and a wife and everybody's getting up and I'm already up. It's already 2. And so if I kill a hog at that time of night, and now what? Now I've got to go get my tractor, and I got to go put it in the bucket, and I got to bring it up to the house, and I'm going to spend the next 45 minutes cleaning it and putting it in a cooler, and then I got to get ice. I mean, come on. That's not feasible. If you were doing it one time, or if I wanted the meat, and I was just keeping it for myself, that's fine. But it's not feasible when you're doing that week after week, night after night, killing maybe 2 or 3 at a time. Or more. I mean, a lot of these guys that are going out and in big fields and stuff, they may go kill 20. It's just not feasible.
Well, I'm going to tell you, all your buddies want you to save them a hog until it's time for them to actually come get it.
That's right.
Because you call them and say, "Hey, I got a hog," and like, "Oh man, I'll get the next one."
Yeah, it's
because nobody
wants it.
They want you to bring it to you. They want you to bring it to them already, processed up on ice, and that ain't gonna happen.
And here's the deal:
if you want a hog, come get it.
Here's the and I think Hans would probably agree with this. We can make a deal with somebody. If you're interested and you say, "Man, I'll take them," give us your phone number. And what we'll do is we'll call you at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. We'll drag it down to the end of the county road. We're going to go to bed. You can come down there and come get it. It'll be down there. You can grab it. But, oh, by the way, it's 88 degrees right now, and it's 11 o'clock at night. So you better be down there in the next 15, 20 minutes because that thing's going to be bloated. So, look, all joking aside, I want to say this. Hans and I are both being, a little bit smart aleck about this, joking around. And we are. We're kidding. But the guys who are out there hunting all the time, they know what we're talking about. It's just not feasible, and this is much, much different than killing white-tailed deer, than killing squirrels, killing ducks, any kind of game animal. This is like killing rats. Yeah,
you're right. If deer, when it comes to deer hunting, of course, and that's the reason why I'll shoot one deer, and that's all I'll shoot is because I don't need more than that.
Right.
Anything else, any other type of game animal, you're exactly right. It is about the preservation of the meat. But I'll tell you, all the people, men and women that are out there killing a bunch of hogs, they're not, I can guarantee you they're not saving all the meat. There's no way that they can do it. All the people listening to the show, like Jason said, that are out there killing hogs several times a week, you just know it's not feasible to do. And so we wanted to address that. And I want to get in a little bit to people that call themselves ethical hunters and the ones that comment to some of the things on forums and some of the things on YouTube that say, "Hey, I only shoot what I can eat," and how that pertains to hog hunting and what we do, Jason.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely not. This is probably should not.
I'm going to stick my foot in my mouth with this thing. I can already tell you.
Well, right now. I'm fixing to go down a road that I'm going to go down this trail that I can't back out of. When people hear this,
where's my edit button?
They're probably never going to listen to this show again because what they're going to think I'm such a weirdo, backwoods redneck, inbred. All those things may be true. I'm not sure, but okay. So this is my comment to that. my comment is, where do you draw that line? Now, like Hans said, um, game animals, deer, those sort of things. I agree. You shouldn't go out blasting them and just
Mm-hmm.
for no reason. I absolutely agree with that. Again, compare this to the extermination of anything else. And so, where do you draw the line? And I'm willing to draw it at hogs. I will eat
Mm-hmm.
hogs. I will a small hog. I will butcher that thing up. If it's a piglet, I'll skin the whole thing, gut it, keep
You
it
love
whole.
you a baby
Oh,
pig.
baby pig, that's the best. Smoke that thing whole. So
Yeah,
don't get me wrong,
he
we're
loves
not
them.
against it. I love it. I mean, I've got a ton of hog meat in the freezer right now. But that I would ask that same person, would you kill a coyote and not eat it? Would you kill a coon and not eat it? And what if that coyote was out there getting your calves? What if the coon was in your barn getting your chickens? What about a
Mm-hmm.
possum? What about so? I'll admit this. I eat all those things.
He does. He does, folks. He
I
does eat
I
all of them. I
have
promise.
in my freezer. Right, I just last weekend. Hans knows this. I was butchering
Yeah.
rabbits. We got meat. I was butchering rabbits, and we had a coon that had been in the barn. My daughter went out there, set the trap, caught the coon. I butchered the coon along with that. It's in the freezer. I've got possum in the freezer. We're out of coyote meat because we have eaten all the coyote. That's yes, coyote. And yes, if your dog, I would eat your dog too if I got hungry. There's no, I mean, you know what? I mean, my this is
Yeah.
I shouldn't have. Man, my one day my daughter will be embarrassed by this, but she is
Yeah.
like, we saw a coyote the other day in the pasture in the daylight. It was running across there, and she's like, "Daddy, kill that coyote. I want some more coyote and dumplings." So I mean, it's the truth. I know we're backwoods here, but so I would say this. I would turn that around on somebody and say, why would you kill that coon that was in your barn, or that possum getting your chickens and not eat it? Why would you kill
Right.
that coyote out there and not eat it? Now, I'm being facetious, but you see what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
we all make that, and even if the guy goes, well, I would do that too. Well, you know what? Where does it stop? Cockroaches? I mean, we've all,
Yeah.
once you get down to a nuisance animal, and that's where hogs are, they're on the bottom of the chain right now.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, I think it comes down. I think there's such a negative backlash in today's environment, and we talked about social media, about hunting and killing, and I think that that people practice what they say is ethical hunting, where they only shoot, they shoot what they're going to eat, and they only shoot what they're going to eat, basically. So it's I think that people use that term ethical hunters to make people that don't agree with us, make them feel a little bit better about what they do. I do hunt, but I only hunt to eat.
Right.
And that's okay.
Sure.
I have nothing against people that call themselves an ethical hunter, and if that's what you believe, that you're out there and you only want to kill what you're going to eat, that's great. I think that's a great thing. I think that's a great practice. But like Jason and I, we both got land. We both have families that have quite a bit of land, and hogs are a problem for us. And we can't sit around and not do anything.
No.
I'm not out, building deer stands and deer hunting and doing all that. I hog hunt every day of the year. 12 months out of the year, and so I'm doing this to get rid of a problem. This isn't sport for me. Like I said in episode number 1, I didn't start hog hunting because I wanted to, because it was fun. I did it because I was asked by my father-in-law to start killing these hogs because they were a problem. So that's how I got into it, not because I wanted to, because I had to. And so it's not a sport for me. It's not. It's not a game to me. It's really, not that deer hunting is a game, but it's a very thought out. You're working hard to get that trophy buck. You're doing a lot of work during the year and setting up deer stands and all this stuff. And you cherish that experience of whenever you do land that trophy buck.
Right.
And you want to respect that game by processing the meat and displaying a mount to show respect for the hunt. Hog hunting's different. It is not a.
It wouldn't be different if we could manage the herd, and there were hogs didn't reproduce like hogs.
Right.
And
Right.
it was a managed thing, a game animal, but it's not. And let me say this too, even on the deer thing, um, there's going to be a lot of people that probably aren't aware of this, and they're going to shake their head and be upset about it. But I sell thermal scopes to farmers in southern states who get eradication permits from the state for deer because they have hundreds of deer, just like hogs, in their crops out there destroying them. And what they can do in a night is crazy too. So these guys are going out and killing deer with thermal legally with the state permit and approval, and not all that meat's getting processed. And I've had some of these guys tell me it's the same thing that we would say. They say, "Man, I hate to do it. I know it's a lot of good meat, but they're destroying these crops, and this is my livelihood, and these crops feed the country, and this is a trickle down. We've got the deer are not more important than feeding people and my livelihood. Same thing with the hogs." And so I think that's where you and I are on this deal is, once it becomes a nuisance animal, the ethical rules change. Now, I want to be clear here and say this too. Hans and I both would consider ourselves ethical hunters. I mean, I definitely don't want to go out and just wound things for no reason. But we want to, we're going to obey the laws. We're not going to go out and do things that are illegal. So we want to be ethical and wise in the things that we do, and and again, try to portray hunters in the best light possible, in the public world. But at the end of the day, hog hunting is a messy business. There's blood and there's guts, and I know that this country is soft, and it can't take that anymore. And I'm sorry, but there's no way you shoot a hog in the head to make that look pretty. I mean, it's just going to look that way, and there's going to be some meat go to waste, and I don't know what else to say about it,
Yeah, a lot of people don't want to talk about it, and it's a touchy subject on social media about what you do with the hogs. But, like Jason said, we do everything that we can with what we've got. And, if somebody wants a hog, we'll give them a hog.
Absolutely.
We can't save all of them. The buzzards and coyotes are staying nice and fed. But this isn't a sport. This isn't traditional hunting. This is eradication, extermination. And they're like rats. They're like 200 and 300 pound rats running around, and we're trying to get rid of them. So I hope everybody got a chance, and for those that have asked that question in the past, and people out there that are in their trucks listening, that are nodding their head saying, "Yeah, that's right." I get the same flack from people, but that's I hope some people got some enjoyment out of that, because I wanted to get that off my chest.
No, I agree, and I would say that this is one of those situations where I would just say in closing, sometimes you've got to walk a mile in the other person's shoes, and I think that's where we're at on this. Is if you're going out to the deer lease, or you're going out to somebody's land, and you're able, or your own land, and you kill a hog, that's great. But when it becomes 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, then you'll start going, okay, this is getting to be out of control. Well, look, we beat this dead horse or dead hog. We beat this dead hog in. And,
dead hog. But like Jason said, though, if you want a hog, we'll drag it down to the end of the county road, and y'all can drive by and pick it up.
I'll just give me your number, and I'll call you and leave you a message.
It's though your buddies are like, they want a hog until it's time to come get it.
Oh, yeah. Man, I'll get the next one. The next one's the one I want.
The next one. I got the next one. Yeah, next time you shoot one at 8 o'clock at night, let me know.
That's right. And it's 55 degrees. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you've gutted it. Yeah. Well, look, let's change gears. Something that we've been asked a lot is, tell us more about your gear, and tell us more about what y'all use. And I know a while back we talked about, rifle calibers, and we got into a little bit of our gear, and I think another episode we'll probably get into more about, which ammos that we like, and which ammo manufacturers and what, and same thing on our rifles. We've dabbled in some of that, but tonight we want to talk about one specific piece of equipment, and this is one of the things that Hans and I both use. It's the exact identical. I think I even got the one that Hans is using for him. Got him to hook up on it, and I'm going to tell you, these are it's a really neat tool. So tell them what it is, Hans.
Yeah, so like Jason said, this piece of equipment is just as important as our rifles and our scopes. But the piece of gear that we're going to highlight this week is the Primos Gen 3 trigger stick tripod. That's a kind of a mouthful.
That's a lot. And specifically,
I'm going to say it again.
Yeah, say it again.
I'm going to say it again. Just make sure I got it right though. The Primos Gen 3 trigger stick tripod.
Tall version. You forgot that out.
Tall. Yeah, you got to eat the tall.
You don't want the short. The short version, you got to be sitting down. So yeah.
Yeah.
So let me tell you what this thing is. So I don't sell this in my store. I've thought about it. I'd like to. Can't really see any profit in the darn thing, but so really that's why. I mean, I'm not going to sell something I can't make $1 on, but it is a great item, and basically what it is this: they sell these in a monopod, a bipod, and a tripod. And I actually have the bipod and the tripod version, but I prefer the tripod. So I should have brought it, and it's got a V yoke on it. And so that's where you lay your rifle. And below that, it has a grip that kind of has a trigger on it. You grab it, and when you squeeze that, the legs fall out completely silently. And they slowly it's not like they just clang out. It's just this
they call it don't they call it telescopic?
Well, it's telescopic. But it's almost like an air ride. I mean, that thing is
it's quiet. It's so quiet.
It's just almost you just can't hear it, and they just slowly go out. And what's nice about this is that whether you're using the bipod or the tripod, that each leg is independently coming out. So let's say you're on the side of a hill. You can be on the back of a pond dam, 45 degrees, and you hold that thing out. As those legs start going down, they go until they touch ground. So you can have one leg have to go down a lot further than the other if it's in a hole or something. But when they stop, they're all touching the ground, and your yoke there where you set your rifle is level. And again, it's a tripod, so you can kind of pop the legs out. That's real quiet. They don't lock out any kind of there's no kind of levers or locks or anything like that. It's all silent.
It's so easy to use. The best thing about it is that it does extend out quietly, but it folds up into a short little thing that you can carry around easily. It's very light. What is it? 3 pounds?
I think it's I should have weighed it. I think it's between 2.5 and 3 pounds that's for the tripod version. The bipod is even less than that.
So they got two versions of it. They got the short or small, and they got the tall.
Short and tall.
Definitely want to get the tall version. Price range on that? What have we seen? I've seen it anywhere from like $120 to $140.
I was going to say. I was about to say it was $125 to $140, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Not a bad.
No, and there is a bipod version. I have that. I had that first. Really liked it. I still use it sometimes. It is a little bit lighter. I do just fine on a bipod, but the tripod's nice. It's nice to set it up there and get it locked in. But I think the big deal for Hans and I both is that it collapses fairly small, and it doesn't weigh much, and it's quiet. And we do a lot of walking, so that's a big deal. And I've used some different. I used to use a monopod, and I had some levers, and it was still pretty quiet, but nothing like this. This thing's just dead silent.
I tell you. It is. We do a lot of walking. Last week when I took my buddies out hog hunting for the first time, they got to see that Primos trigger stick tripod for the first time, and the next day they ordered 2 of them. That's how much they loved them. And it is, you're getting it out, carrying it around. We got a lot of stuff to carry already. It's not easy to do, but this thing, I've used a bunch out there too. I've used a monopod. I've used bipods. I've broken everything that I've tried out in the field. I'm pretty hard on gear.
I know why too. I go hunting with Hans, and I'm like, "Hey man, don't forget your tripod." Oh yeah, it's in the back of the truck, and he's like moving 5-gallon buckets and feed sacks, and I'm like, No wonder you tear these things up. I treat mine like it's my rifle. I've got, I polish it and all.
Yeah.
But
I know that's exactly right. And I break everything. Either that or I'll leave it out in the field.
Yeah.
I lost, a headlamp flashlight last week, and I'm bummed about it. I left it somewhere and I can't find it, and I loved it. But I tell you that tripod from Primos, it really, and they're not sponsoring the
No,
show or anything
that's
like that. I
just.
wish they
I
were.
wish they
We
would. Yeah,
paid
we're here.
we paid yeah, I think we paid full price for ours,
Yeah,
so we're not.
Primos, are you listening? We're here.
Yeah.
No,
So,
I
but
agree.
we love
It's
them.
a great item, and I think it's just one of the things that I would say bipod or tripod. Get the tall. If you're going to go buy
Mm-hmm.
this thing and you're going to look for it, if it does not say tall and it looks cheap, it's the short. You've got to
Yeah,
get the tall one,
exactly, exactly,
and the
exactly.
difference is the short one is good if you're sitting down, but it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Won't extend high enough for standing
Right.
up. So it
And
is
and
better.
the tall one will extend down far enough that it's not. It's only it'll be like 3 feet off the ground. It'll when it goes all
That's
the
right.
way
That's right.
down
So
the ground. So it still gets kind of
it
short, you
does.
know.
Yeah, I don't think you can maybe sit down on the ground and use it,
No,
but I think in
it's
a
too tall.
chair it would probably work.
A chair, or you could kneel. You could kneel with
Can
it because I've knelt with it in the
I'm probably
lowest
too
setting.
short for that, so
But or you could be on the side of a hill.
yeah, I
It
need
does.
that. Yeah,
It's a good thing.
no, it
But
is. It's a great item. So I would just say go check that out. And you know what? That's the way that the way these things sell. This I specifically believe this, especially about the trigger stick. I'd seen them, looked kind of cool. I went hunting with a customer of mine. He had it, and I was like, "Oh man, this is so much better than what I'm using." I went out and bought one. Then I turned around and was trying to get Hans. I think once you see it, now Hans's buddies are buying
uh,
them. You see it, and you're going,
yeah,
"Okay, yep, I'm gonna
I
buy it."
see why people
That's
are
it.
getting them. Yeah. So this is a segment we're going to do from time to time. We're just going to pull one item out of our gear bag and talk about it. This week, like I said, was the Primos, the Gen 3 trigger stick tripod.
That's it.
I'm tripping over it. But we appreciate you joining again this week. Man, we're getting a lot of people, Jason, calling into the show. We got another message and several emails to go through to highlight on a future show.
We do.
But to contact us, all you got to do is call 903-833-4461. You'll be able to call the show and leave a voicemail. We won't use your last name, but we will play the message on the show. And if it's negative, just say it about Jason.
Yeah, that's right. And if you want to leave
Save
us
all the negative comments.
yeah,
for
if you want to leave feedback, also if you don't want to call in, you can send
Yeah.
us an email at thelatenightvisionshow@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your voicemail so we could play it. But if you want to send an email, if you prefer to do it that way, do that. Any kind of show suggestions, any questions, anything that you want us to highlight or mention on the show, just mention it there, and we'll take a look at it. So yeah, we want all
Absolutely.
your feedback, and we really appreciate it. So I tell you what, this is episode 13, and we just appreciate y'all once again for tuning in. We ask that you subscribe to whatever podcast app that you're listening to the show on. We want you to share it with your friends, share it on Facebook, Instagram, wherever. Let your friends know about it. And we want to build this thing up and get the many people as we can listening. So we just appreciate the support and letting your friends know about it. And that's, hey, just like the trigger sticks. That's how
Yeah. Hey,
people are going to find out about it.
And I want to add one more thing too. Send us on Instagram. We've got a lot of people sending pictures into us of them listening to the show. So send us your pictures on Instagram. It's the Late Night Vision Show on Instagram. Send us pictures of you listening to the show. We'll share it. Send it around.
Yeah, do the same thing on Facebook. You can send them there too
Yep.
if you're on Facebook. Either one.
Yep.
And I tell you what, if you get a big hog or something interesting, send us a picture of that. If we're able to,
Yep.
we'll
Tag
try to
us.
share that too. And
Yep.
so we're always glad to do that for our listeners.
Well, and go check out my video that I just posted last week on YouTube. It's Hans ETX, Hans ETX. I just posted the video with 9-year-old Ian killing his big hog. So go check that out, and you can find me on Instagram at the same thing, Hans ETX, Hans ETX.
Yeah, and you can find me outdoorlegacygear.com. Anything you need, night vision, thermal, let me know. If you have questions, feel free to call me, 877-350-1818. I'll be glad to answer your questions and help you in any way I can. You can find me on all the social medias, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and we just appreciate y'all's support. So for Hans and I, we want to say thanks again for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing y'all again next week.